All right.
I can't see the chat. I don't know. They're probably talking shit. I
The
can't see
chat is talking bad shit about us, but we look like a couple. Two of us are wearing sunglasses at night. We're all indoors. I mean, deservedly so. We look like a bunch of dickheads.
We're wearing sunglasses because our futures are so bright.
Oh yeah,
I like it.
Sunglasses gang boy.
Yeah. So today is our Valentine's Day 3 Blind Mice special. The main man pulled his back so he couldn't join us today, and we just couldn't pull, so that's why we're here today.
Yeah.
And anyway,
he said he pulled his back working out, lifting. I'm sure he's injured for real because he's not flaky. We were chatting just a couple of minutes ago. But I'm not sure about the lifting part. I think he might have been doing something else that involved his lower back,
Yeah. I think he said he was picking up Wilhelm, his kid, and he kind of just broke his back. I mean, he's pretty big. He's a pretty big baby, and he's always going to grow up to be a Viking, like a bearded Viking when he's older. So, good on the main man.
Good stuff. Yeah. We'll get well soon, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping the best for Adrian. I hope he gets well soon. It'll be good to have him on next time. So we are sending our love to you, Adrian, if you're listening, which you're probably not. He's probably in bed right now. Okay. So anyway, and I forgot to mention we have the one and only Spaghetti Rip joining us today. Thank you so much for making the time, sir.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
We're not worthy.
Good to be here.
You're in Switzerland right now?
Yes, Switzerland. This weekend, there's a tournament happening, eight man bracket with 8 really strong European players. Logitech G Cup.
Oh yeah. Fergus and Seffi Black, right? And who are the other?
Yeah, Fergus, Asim, Seffi Black, Piper, Kira, Gunny from France as well, and then there's 2 guys, one from Germany and one from Switzerland as well. The kind of newer players, not really the top of Europe, but they have an opportunity to make a name for themselves tomorrow as well. It's going to be really interesting, man. And there's a huge prize pool as well, so all to play for.
What's the prize pool?
It's like 6,000 euros.
Wow,
or something. It's a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, Logitech got the big bucks. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, boy. Logitech owns Astro, and Astro, does a lot of work in the FGC and Tekken. They sponsored the Tekken World Tour last year with 100,000. So Logitech doing bits, man.
Nice. That's not bad. Logitech in Japan isn't called Logitech. It's called. Do you know what it's called? Frame.
What is it called?
I have no idea. Is it awkward?
It's really awkward. It's called Logicool.
Logicool. Okay.
Logicool.
They need to change their name to Logical. They need to do it.
It's much cooler.
Like something you put on your dick before you jerk off.
Pastological. Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. I mean, the things that have like cool sounding names abroad that have awkward names in Japan. Do you know, of course, what they call the Fast and the Furious films in Japan?
Oh God, it was Wild Speed, right?
Wild Speed. And the Wild Speed one where they go on the airplane is called Wild Speed Sky Mission.
Love it.
Wild Speed Sky Mission.
Yeah.
I once taught a student whose job it was to change normal English into marketable Japanese English. Right?
Right. Okay.
And his English was actually pretty damn good, so he knew what he was doing. But there are certain buzzwords that really kind of capture a Japanese audience's attention.
Yeah, like.
So he was an English translator. Is that what you're saying?
No, he was Japanese, and he'd like spent time in California. His English was actually pretty damn good. But his job, he worked as a marketing consultant, and his job was to translate normal, regular, everyday, normal English into English that sounds poppy and kawaii and interesting and marketable.
but doesn't actually make sense to a normal.
Doesn't make a damn lick of sense. Exactly.
What you do is you put the word "the" in front of everything.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So like they come out with a new black coffee. It's called the Black and stuff like that all the time. It's super awkward.
Yeah, it gives it
like if you've ever watched Lost in Translation, where he goes, he turns from the right and goes, "For relaxing times, make it Suntory time." That's like, it's exactly like that all the time.
Okay.
And like your life becomes a joke,
Yeah, articles. they love articles here. The adds a level of kind of like superiority or just kind of just heightened importance.
Okay.
Yeah. The boss. Yeah, the black coffee.
The Spag.
All right. The Spag indeed.
The Spag. There you go.
If I ever commentate in Japan, that's my name. The Spag.
Yeah.
The Spag.
Shit.
I've wanted to ask, where does the name the Spag or the spaghetti rip come from?
Does it have any relation to the other rip?
Yeah.
It does. Because
his name is from Repal, right? His rip. I mean, Rip.
Yeah, I don't know about Rip. I think Rip was saying that his name came from a teacher that wasn't able to say his name properly or something like something like that. I don't know, but but mine was simple, right? There was a Tekken Tag 2 location test in California. There was a stream that they did, and at this point, I didn't have a Twitch account, and I needed to make one, and I needed to make a name for it, and I couldn't think of a username, so I was like, shit, man, what should I put as a username? And I thought, you know what, I'll make a temporary one, right? Because what happened is during that location test, and you can go onto YouTube, it's been uploaded. I think Aris might have uploaded it or someone else, but what happened is someone in the chat was saying to Rip while he was commentating, take the spaghetti out your pockets. It's like a meme, right? Like the spaghetti when it falls out your pockets. And he didn't understand what it meant, and he was getting really pissed off. He's like, look, dude, I have no spaghetti in my pockets. What are you talking about? And he got really angry. So I thought, I'll just make a temporary name. I'll change it later. I'll call myself Spaghetti Rip. And then I started talking in the chat, and he's like, fuck, man, now there's a guy called Spaghetti Rip in the chat. And it was all a bit of fun. And then I didn't change the name. I kept it because I was lazy, but then I won an arcade stick from Aris. And now everyone knows. Like,
I remember that. I watched his stream, and he did like, somebody won the stick. And he was like, please tell me you live close. And then he said, Spaghetti Rip, UK. Fuck, I remember that stream. That was around the time I started Tekken.
Yeah, that was it, man. So I actually was talking in that same chat about needing an arcade stick. So it was really good timing, and it was really good luck on my end. But I mean, at that point, I was like, shit, now people have heard my name, Spaghetti Rip. I better not change it because I want to do a stream, my first ever Twitch stream. I want to do it when I get the stick from Aris. And I did that. I got the stick. I did my first ever Twitch stream. And I thought, I just, fuck it, man. I'll keep the name. I won't change it. And then I thought maybe it's a bit hard for people to say, so I'll just shorten it to Spag. So that's the story. That's the story of the name.
The really funny part of that story is Rip saying, I haven't got any spaghetti in my pockets, is the spaghetti actually bursting from his pockets.
Yeah, I mean it was funny. If you guys can, I might tweet it out. But that location test that's the first time I ever saw Tasty Steve commentate as well. Shit was really funny, man. It was a great stream. Yeah.
It looks like a great time. It's been a dream of mine ever since I started doing this YouTube stuff to try commentary someday. It looks like a blast, honestly.
Yeah,
dude, it's good, man. And you know the advice I give. A lot of people ask me like, how do I? What advice would you give me if doing commentary? Honestly, the best advice is just to be yourself.
Yeah.
And I said to someone, this was at Paris when I did. There was a massive event happening there, and there's a guy doing his first time commentary. He's like, Spag, what do I do, man? This is huge. There's like lights everywhere. This is the production quality was crazy. He said, what do I do, man? I said, look, just be yourself. And as long as you can be yourself, you're gonna be a good commentator, in my opinion. That's it. Don't be too tense. Just be yourself. People love you.
That's basically exactly what Obama told me when I did my first kind of major, but I commentated a dojo event with him in Korea. This was in Seoul. In Seoul, the talent one. So I thought he said Thailand, no, but there was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and he basically said exactly that. He said, just relax, be yourself. This is Margin Obama, by the way, not the 44th president of the United States, but Margin Obama. Said, just relax, be yourself. And, at first I was a bit nervous, but as the event went on, it just kind of have fun and just go with it. So yeah.
It just becomes natural, man. You just talk about
Exactly.
stuff, talk about games, you know, and
sure.
Margin Obama is really good. He's very versatile as well. He's good at bringing out the best in the commentary.
Definitely,
it's good.
Definitely. I couldn't have asked for a better co-commentator. It was a blast. It was definitely a blast. Awesome. And I want to ask Frame, where does the name FrameWhisperer come from? On the topic of names, right? Because whenever I hear your name, I think of that Robert Redford movie. You know the one.
No.
The Horse Whisperer.
It's a great film. I know when horses are happy. No. What happened is, like right around that time when that stream happened where Spag got a stick, me and my friends were sort of hanging out at night, fucking around, and we started playing Tekken 5 DR, which was on the PlayStation Store for, I think, the PS3 back then. And everybody, you know, remembers Tekken from back in the day, the old days, you know, Tekken 2, 3. So it's like a fun game that everybody remembered. We obviously couldn't play, you know, at all. And then we tried to like learn more about the game and get better. But whenever you try and learn, people always talk about frames. We had no idea what it was. So we would make all these silly jokes about frames, like, yeah, this character has hella frames and stuff like that, not knowing what we were talking about. And so the joke became that I knew all about the frames. I was the frame whisperer because I could like hear the voice of the game, the same way Redford could talk to horses. And
you could hear the frames.
And so that became the joke. But I made it up when I didn't even know how frame data worked. And then what happened is like that group of friends, we kept playing Tekken. 3 of us eventually got pretty good. But this is like the tail end of Tag 2. And then I moved to Japan. The same month the game 7 came out for arcade here in Japan. We actually got to be, I think, some of the first people that ever played it because they let us in early in the Namco arcade here in Fukuoka.
Yeah, you mentioned
this. Which was really awesome. And then, you know, I really just fell into wanting to learn the game. So when it did come out for console, I tried, you know, making a couple of YouTube videos. And so I'm actually pretty new to the game, but that's where the name came from. And I had a lot of people like, you know, say it was funny. So I think I might just go with this, but yeah.
Cool.
It's a good name, man.
Thank you.
But, you know, I got a question though. Where the hell did the name Blasted Salami come from? See, that's a bit of a weird one. That's a bit of an eccentric one.
It is an eccentric.
What's the story about that?
Yeah. Like, well, okay. Rounding off the topic on names, I mean, to put it simply, it comes from this 90s X-Men cartoon. Can someone in the chat like send the link? I'm sure you'll know what I'm talking about. But there's a bit where Wolverine is kind of peckish, he's hungry, and he goes into the fridge and he's making a sandwich. And he goes, "Where's that blasted salami?" And then he uses his filthy claws, which he's probably just, you know, murdered someone with, and he uses it to slice up this salami. And I'm just thinking, this is really bad sanitation wise. Anyway, so he makes this sandwich, and Cyclops comes in, and they share the salami sandwich. And I just thought, yeah, that's hilarious. I'm gonna create a YouTube channel and base my whole livelihood around that one quote. But there's a bit more to it. There's a bit more to it. It's that from the inception, all the videos on the channel were meant to be like a collaborative effort, like kind of like grinding a sausage together with expertise from here and there and everywhere. So I kind of wanted to have the sausage motif. And finally, and the last reason is that conventional advice for naming a brand, because I used to work in marketing, is keep it short and snappy and cool. And I left marketing because I really hated it. So I wanted to have the most uncorporate name possible. So
you know, I thought it was first time I heard it, I thought it was about you like coming all the time because you hella fuck and stuff. And you know, I've been fucking around writing like rap lyrics as a hobby lately, and I was writing like a song about how I blast my salami, but that was a different meaning, you know.
Yeah,
I need to hear some of your raps, boy.
There's that.
I made a Leroy diss track on YouTube, dude.
Sick. I'm gonna watch that.
It's a joke. It's not. I don't. You know. I got into like. Do you listen to hip hop at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got into like hip hop music like just a couple of years ago, but I really fell into it and really like love the culture. So I just, as a joke, wrote a couple of bars, but it's not like I feel like I'm a real spitter or anything. But because I actually sat down and wrote like a couple of lines that actually rhymed and sort of worked, it kind of became a pretty good joke. So I was pretty happy with it. But yeah,
sick.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get the diss track. Someone in the chat. Let me put it. Let me just hold on.
Oh man. And I actually had like, it was really awkward because a couple of producers actually tried to put beats to it because it was a freestyle.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work because I don't know how to do it proper, you know, but yeah. But it was really cool. Like the response was beautiful.
Hold on. I'm gonna put it in the Discord chat. So you guys can see it. And I'm gonna put it on the main screen so the chat can see it. All right, I'm gonna press play on this bad boy.
Oh my god, you're gonna.
Yep.
I can't hear it though.
Don't embarrass me.
All right.
I've gone an OD'd on these hard reads while you spam down 3. You fucking travesty.
Is it playing?
Broken. Like the controller I know that you throw. When you cheat all the time, but you don't have a soul, so you don't understand how I know where to go when I block all your lows. Launch you like so. Butt fuck your hoe and get sushi to go. Think you're so dank. Well, let me be frank, Skank. You feel like a prank. Stealing your rank. We got Namco to thank. They left all the way to the bank. Now, people been asking if Frame is a stan. I wasn't, but then I saw Evo Japan. Watched a deadpan con man with no game plan pick Leroy and go, yeah, and grand. Finals. We're 6 out of 8. Now people asking why Frame got a hate. Well, bitch, get it straight. Leroy opened up the floodgate on these fuck-faced cheapskate primates. Now the game is in such a state, don't get me started on my heart rate. Can hardly get hard enough to...
I love the ending where you just gotta trail off.
I had two more verses, but I could not.
That was great.
I started laughing and I had to end it, but yeah, I had more.
Oh shit! Sorry, I didn't even put it in the chat, but yeah, when you have time, check it out.
Thank you.
Yeah. Was that all off the cuff?
I came up with it 10 minutes before I did it. Yeah.
That's pretty damn impressive. I mean,
it isn't. But I used to I really like hip hop, and I used to write a lot of poetry, specifically in English when I was younger, which I thought was fun. So the fundamentals were there. But like I said, it's a joke. It's not like I think it's good or anything, but it was a decent joke.
That's some talent, man. I'm always envious of your linguistic ability. You speak better English than I do, and it's like your second, third, fourth language.
Don't be silly.
No, you really do. You really do.
It's not. I mean, okay, whatever. Let's talk about you, Spag. When did you start teching?
Yeah.
I like how he just trailed off onto me. When did I start teching?
Yeah.
When did I start? What define starting Tekken though? What's the definition? What's
like competitively?
When did you first think that you wanted to play it and get a little bit better than casual at it?
Probably at the end of Tekken 6.
Okay.
End of Tekken 6. Yeah. I thought, okay, I need to learn this frame shit and actually because I can't get past yellows, man. Yellow rank is my peak. My gimmicks aren't working anymore. Slippery kicks with Eddie is they're getting blocked. So I went to a tournament in Tekken 6, got my ass kicked, and I was like, yeah, I need to learn this frame shit that everyone keeps talking about. So Tekken Tag 2 came out, and met people online, Fergus, one of them, and other people, and just learn the game, learn the theory, man, and then competed in tournaments, got relatively good, and then man, now we're here in Switzerland with fucking sparkling water, man.
Fuck
Who
yeah.
drinks sparkling water, bro?
20 euros.
Sparkling water.
I'm okay with
water. Is disgusting, man.
I'm okay with it. I used to hate it, but now I'm kind of like whatever with it. You know, it's
we got a soda stream at our house in Sweden, and I started because people just make water, but I started fucking around making all kinds of things. It turns out it's really funny. So I made sparkling milk, sparkling tomato juice.
Oh my god!
I made sparkling milk and put it in my cereal in the morning. It really wakes you up. It's pretty cool.
I saw some guy on Twitter with milk, and he put tomato ketchup in it. Ketchup, and then he mixed it and drank it. It's some Tekken guy.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that tweet?
He probably plays like one of those really fucked up characters though, like some sort of fucking I don't know, Lily Main or whatever.
I was gonna say Lily, yeah, definitely a Lily Main. If you're gonna do that shit, you're a Lily Main.
Lily Mains put ketchup in their milk.
Dude, Lily Mains put ketchup on their everything. I was gonna say girlfriend, but they don't have girlfriends.
Didn't me say that Lily players are they have trouble romantically?
The really annoying thing here in Asia is that there are like stereotypes, but then especially when it comes to like women, but then Asian women really fit the stereotypes, so they only want to play Elisa, Lily, Oscar, Xiaoyu, which is annoying. So yeah, all the Lily players I've seen that are even half decent here in Asia have been girls actually. So
yeah, I can concur with that.
There's a lot of good Lily players in Korea, like what's his name, Shine, and then Lily Man. Those guys are really good, and they make Lily work as well. There's a lot of people that say Lily needs buffs, she's trash, this and that. Those guys are making top 8 like consistently.
No, I think she's pretty good. Like I was thinking about that lately, how there's a lot of solid stuff there. Like I would love to have her down for 3 on like any of my characters. Like Elisa, are you kidding?
That
plus
is
plus frames.
Yeah, plus frame mid. That has a fat hitbox. It's a pretty. When it comes to lockdown, she's actually pretty damn good. And of course, she has her movement. Her sidestep is one of the best in the game, next to Zafina, next to Elisa. And Kazumi.
And that's probably why the Koreans, because when I asked Nee about the different playstyles and how you would characterize them, he said that Korean playstyle is very based around the movement, which means laterally and backwards as well, backward movement. So because of how important lateral movement is to the Korean playstyle, I think they make Lily work better just based on the way that they play. Over every other kind of people, like Japanese playstyle, European and American. So the Koreans will always get like the most out of that character.
I agree. Yeah, it's we were talking a bit about Pakistani Tekken before the stream started. I think because I was watching a lot of these guys, and what I think is there's a lot of Akuma in there, which makes it weird. It's hard to define what the play style is when they're launching people with down 3s. But like Arslan, for example, it seems like their thing is that they just push the limits of how good your reaction speed can be like a human, and that makes the defense like completely impenetrable. So if you play Kazumi, for example, with him, like you're not going to get through with anything that is remotely seeable, and he's always going to punish everything like perfectly on reaction. So I think like if the Koreans are good at movement, I think the Pakistanis seem to specialize on defense and reaction time.
Yeah, the thing is with Pakistan, Nee kind of said what you said as well. He said that their playstyle is not a lot of lateral movement, but great space control and perfect punishment. They say they punish everything and perfectly, just like you said. But the reactions and all that, people say, how can you react to that? I asked Asim the same thing. Asim, of course, was, and you can ask Arslan and these guys, I spoke to them about Asim, who will actually be competing tomorrow in the tournament. He was originally from Pakistan, from Lahore, where Arslan and all these guys are from. And he was actually one of the best players. I think he was top 2 in Pakistan at that time in Tekken 6.
Yeah.
Used to beat Arslan and all those guys. And I asked him about this because he knows about the scene better than anyone. And I said, look, ask him, how the hell does Arslan react to all this shit? And he goes, look, he plays all the time. And that's the only way you can really get that good, is that you're grinding games day after
constantly,
all the time. Yeah, and that's why we saw low high all of a sudden step it up. last year and just win a fuckload of tournaments because that guy, he said that all he does, he wakes up, he plays second, he eats, and he goes to sleep, and then he just repeats it the next day. And you got to keep playing. And
dedication.
The more you play, dedication, but you're going to be getting yourself used to seeing certain moves. You know, everyone has like, the thing is, this is funny. This is a funny story. So when Ulsan, CBM, and Lohai were in London, we went out for fish and chips, yeah? And they love fish and chips, by the way. People chat shit about English food. They loved it, bro. Me,
who doesn't
Ulsan,
love fish and chips?
Lohai, I don't know, man. I don't know. But we were chilling, and I had on my phone, I had a game. It's a reaction test game, yeah? And Ulsan did it, and we know Ulsan he's got crazy reactions on second, right? So he did it. He did quite a few times, got his reaction time. CBM did it, Lohai did it, and I did it. And I won from all of them. I managed to just about beat, I think, Ulsan. And so it just goes to show that we kind of all have similar reaction times raw, right? But the reason why their reaction in Tekken is better is because they are recognizing the move, the animation of the move, and they're training themselves to react to it.
Exactly.
Right. Like, there's a difference between reacting to like a light coming on and the startup animation of a specific move, right?
Yeah. This is why new players have trouble with Snake Edge because they haven't been exposed to it enough. You know, it's not just reactions because I think when it comes to a raw reaction, we're at 0.25 milliseconds generally as human beings. That's around 16, 17 frames. Now, of course, no Tekken player can block a move that is
realistically around 20. Like if you're fast, 19, 20, I think.
I would say the fastest reaction time is 22-ish. Like,
online, maybe.
Consistently.
There are people offline who'll see 20 frame moves. I've seen it, but you know.
Goregi, thank you for the sub. Thank you very much, man. Just got a sub. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, you're right for sure.
It's not just raw reactions. It's you have to factor in, as you said, recognition time, because your
perfect example of it. Sorry to cut you off. The perfect example is Punko, right? The guy played Tekken, but he doesn't actually play Tekken. So he played these pre-release tournaments. Everybody tried to play solid against him. Of course, he had a broken version of Akuma, which didn't help. But he played against one guy, Evo. I remember, I forgot who it was. This man snake edged the shit out of Punko, and I was like, "That's how you play versus someone who doesn't play Tekken. He doesn't know. He can't react. He has no idea what's going on. Just do snake edge. You ain't gonna block it." So yeah, it's a good example.
That's interesting. Yeah, but I mean, a good example. Dragunov's down 2, right? We play all these Dragunovs, and I block his down 2 a lot, but it's obviously not because I'm seeing it. It's because I've been exposed to that move constantly for like 5 years now.
Yeah.
Like every time you go online, Dragunov is not as popular now as he used to be, but it used to be like every second match, and it gets to a point where you can sort of smell the low, you know. This is the situation where, you know, where this is the situation where they do the down 2, you know. And then if the player is good, the opponent is good, that's when they mix it up, you know, and that's when this funny mind game that's really cool starts to happen when he knows that I know, so he's just going to, you know, down 4-2 me and, you know.
I think in any fighting game, it's not just about raw reactions. There's an element of awareness and being ready for that move. Like, for example, a typical example is anti-airing in a 2D fighter. Yeah, like you can do it based on raw reactions, but a good jump in is one that is timed off kilter so that you don't expect it. And it's a similar deal with lows in Tekken, is that you can occasionally get away with like, you know, a 24 frame low, but it's about using it at an off tempo timing. You know, if someone catches on to your timing, it's going to be easy to block.
Yeah.
The perfect example again for that point that you made is when I played against Ni for the first time. It was online when I was in Korea. I wanted to experience online Tekken in Korea, and my first opponent was Ni, and I was playing Kazumi. He was playing Negan. I'm pretty sure he sniped me, you know, because he plays Negan versus Kazumi, so I think he sniped me. But it was Negan versus Kazumi, and when I would do a jab on block, he would sidestep right. But and do a little tiny twitch duck. But so that would beat the down forward one. So if I did jab down forward one or jab jab, it beats both those options to do the side step right. But also because of the little twitch duck, he was waiting for the down back four just in case it came. So in that situation, after he's done the side step right, he's thinking in his head, I'm expecting a down back four. I'm looking out for it. So every time I tried to go for down back four, even if I mixed the timing up, he was ready to block it because he was like, I'm expecting this move after this situation, after a jab on block. So yeah, you're right, man. If you're expecting a low, it's or if you're expecting something, you need to have enough experience with the game that you know in a situation that this move may come out. So you're in a better position to be ready for it.
Yeah, exactly. Same with throw breaking. Like a good king player will use throws when you don't expect it, especially against a player who can see the hands.
Yeah.
It's why when you go into training mode and you want to practice kind of like ducking a low, you should use all the recording slots and fill up the rest of them with a bunch of other moves that the character typically does. Because like good
That's
defense.
A good point. I never tried that. It's a really good point, actually. Not mixing throws with throws, but mixing them with honestly like hop kicks and stuff that, if you're trying to duck a throw, he's going to go for the hop kick, catching the duck and stuff,
Yeah. I mean, good defense is not just about raw reaction time. It's about your ability to process a lot of information. And Tekken throws a shit ton of information at you. And it's about juggling all these balls and, keeping all these plates twirling. I mean, there's a lot to keep in mind when you're playing against a good player in Tekken. And
yeah.
Anyway, speaking of balls, let's move on to.
Do you want to talk about Leroy nerfs?
Yeah. Why not? So we've talked so much about Leroy on this show, and to the point where it's kind of become comedic. But the general gist is like, he got nerfed a shit ton in the recent patch, and deservedly so. And the real question is he a normal character now? Because I've seen all kinds of reactions to this. I've seen people say he's still too strong. I've seen people say they went too far. And actually, the vast majority of people, at least on Twitter, seem to be saying that, you did a pretty good job, which is actually kind of rare. But what are your guys' thoughts on?
Do you mind if I start?
Yeah, go for it.
Because
go for it.
Some people actually started a drinking game last episode. Every time Frame complains about Leroy, take a shot. So congratulations, you're all alcoholics now, people watching. But the way I saw it, there were like a couple of things that you just had to change with him. And the first one was frame data and range on the orbital. The frame data changed in the first preemptive patch. So that was one thing. The second one for me was down 3-2. I didn't want that to be natural on normal hit. And I think it did too much damage. They changed the damage, and I think they kept the other properties.
It's still natural.
Which
natural.
Means that you still go into Hermit with +8, I think, for a mix-up, which is still very unconventional for a fast low poke. But they did touch the damage. Another thing was pushback on 4-2-2. I think that changed. And then frame data and homing properties on 4-4-3, that changed.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't home anymore, and it's gone from +2 to -1 on block.
Yeah, which is great because I haven't tried the homing properties out in practice mode yet, but what I want to know is if you can really start like walking and stepping him on the approach now, and he becomes vulnerable and linear on the approach. Because then all of a sudden you have this, game plan and you can strategize against him, which I think would be very good. I mean, both me and Spag play Katarina, so we know what it's like to be very linear on the approach, even if you have good moves like Tukente, like 4-4-3. The fact that you need to keep that in mind and you don't have good homing moves, Leroy does have good homing moves, but, And then what else? I mean, frame data on the 1-1 string, that changed. So a couple of the really key points they hit for me, but they left some stuff in that I think is enough that he has like standout strong stuff as a character. The fact that he still has, mix up off of a low poke like down 3-2. So I think he's a high tier character, but he's at a point where I'm happy with him now.
Yeah, I'd pretty much agree with that. I'm pretty happy with what they did. He's still a strong character for sure. He's just been normalized. I mean, it's hard to say whether he's top 5 or top 10. At this point, it's far too early. But he's certainly still a very strong and capable character. I mean, just trying to look at the broad strengths and weaknesses. I mean, what kind of archetype is he now? I mean, he clearly still has a very strong poking game. His down forward 1 is still -1, and it still has extensions, down forward 1-1, down forward 1-4, which is a natural mid-mid, which is again very unconventional. So his poking game is extremely strong, and his down forward 1 has an excellent hitbox as well. His mix, So what were we going to say? Something?
He's boring now overall. Now he's just kind of like, what if Leo was a black fang?
Yeah. Like it's something that we were talking about with Dino before the podcast, actually, or on the last Wavedash. He was saying that if they released Feng like today, what would people make of him? People might have a similar reaction to Leroy, because again, Feng is a type of character who he's like a Swiss Army knife. He has a tool for every situation. If you look at his down forward 1, it's 0 on block, albeit it's a bit slower. It's and you need to kind of
Feng has below average combo game though, and the down back 3, the really good low is like launch punishable. So he has like distinct weaknesses in there as well. And then his Oki is kind of insane, and his back turn is really good. So I think Feng is a character that has, stand up strong stuff, but he has a lot of weaknesses too. I think that's reflected in his usage statistics. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
So the thing is, I feel like Feng, specifically as a character, the reason where he struggles is that he struggles to get in. Not struggles to get in, but he struggles when people are backdashing and staying away from him. Because he's then forced to use his snake dash and maybe sometimes commit to a QCF1 or something. He's really strong in close, and I felt like that's the reason why Feng was the best matchup versus Leroy, because he had the back tempo. And he had his backswing blow, which actually beat a lot of options even after down 3-2 on hit. So there's a lot of I played that matchup quite a bit, and I felt like Feng can really give Leroy some trouble. But I don't think the reason why people wouldn't have the same reaction to Feng as Leroy is because Leroy just had so many abusable moves, and I feel like that's the main issue. It's not
the frame
about,
data was whack.
Like
the frame data was whack.
The frame data was whack, but everything, it was like back 1+2. You can whiff it, and no one can whiff punish you for it. But look at it's all about risk reward. The risk reward was so skewed with Leroy. That's why it was bad, because he could do anything he wanted, and he was still in an advantageous position. You know what I mean? And your options to defend against it were basically non-existent, because he had moves for every situation.
For example, you could use your orbital to set up your orbital. You could do the orbital twice, and it actually set itself up quite well, and stuff like that. I mean, this word broken is kind of silly because it gets thrown around so much. But I think if you look at like intricate Tekken systems and the relationship between lows and mids, and that gives that sort of connect to the concept of mix-ups. If you can disregard that completely by doing a safe mid launcher into the same safe mid launcher, then I think broken starts to become close to an appropriate word to use, because the game is still functioning, but the sort of intricacies of Tekken stop working and start breaking down when that happens.
Yeah, and having down back 1 as a high crush, that got changed as well. Of course, not high crush anymore, but it was a mid poke. Usually if you want to high crush your opponent, you're going to use a low. There are not a lot of mids that are gonna high crush, a true high crush, right? And if you think about it, like Lucky Chloe has her hop kick, which high crushes, but it is launch punishable. So now Leroy has a down back 1, which goes under your high, but it means it will beat magic 4s as well. So if you try to beat his pressure by using a magic 4, that down back 1 will go under it. And then the mid was safe. Which, if you think about it, let's give an example of Katarina. Katarina has down 4-2-4 and down 4-2-2. The mid is unsafe, but the high is
punishable.
Obviously, can be done.
Those are duckable,
it's punishable. It's duckable, but it's plus. So that's a very conventional sort of system that we have in Tekken, where the mid is punishable, the high isn't on block. But Leroy had the mid that was safe, so you could just literally. And I remember Lowhigh tweeting out that he won a round at Tekken God Prime just using down back 1+2, just threw it out for no reason. The parry also, his parry was super had great recovery, was really abusable. Back 1+2, as we saw in Evo Japan, 1-1, 1+2. So many of his moves were abusable. Even like forward 2-2. If the first hit whiffed and the second one got blocked, the pushback was so crazy that most characters couldn't punish it. There was so much about him. And then even that forward 4-3. So if you try to play that mid-range, long-range game, stay away from him and sidewalk to try and beat the forward 4-2-2, for example, forward 4-3 would hit you. So now it doesn't. So now you can actually play with the mid-range a lot easier.
Step him on the approach. Yeah, I mean, you said Spag earlier that you started playing a lot of Zafina. I block. I predict the forward 4-2-2 is going to come specifically. I block it. I know it's -13, right?
Yeah.
And if you're playing Zafina, that means that you punch with down forward 1-4. And I do that, and it just whiffs because of the pushback. And the funny thing is, because the Leroy players is like, I might as well do an orbital because it's always a good idea because it's so good. That means that I predict what my opponent's going to do perfectly. I do the appropriate thing, and I get launched because he's just like, push back in orbitals,
Yeah.
So, and that's when this is stupid, That's when I feel like turning off the game.
Yeah, it's all about the abusable nature of the character. Now it's changed. So if we talk about these little situations that you'd see from these scrubby Leroys online, right? Now the orbital is -8. He can't really sidestep after it or do anything. Like, so that's number one. It's still 21 frames. It's still quick, right? So it's a good orbital. It's a really good orbital, actually.
It's kind of like Brian's now, and Brian's is still a good move.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's quick as well. But and then now you got back 1+2 as well, which is not, you can't abuse that anymore.
That is the single biggest change, I think.
Recovery.
Yeah, that is the single biggest change. Because that move alone was like the MVP in Evo Japan. Like players were just rinsing that over, and it was so obnoxious. You just couldn't do anything. Like, I mean, you couldn't whiff punish it. And like 12 frame mid counter hit, and since it's a counter hit, you have to think about how it's going to interact with the extended hitbox of another move, right? So people said it has short range, but you don't look at a counter hit move like that. You have to look at the whiff recovery, which is the most important thing for a counter hit move, and it was just absurd. So I think that is the single biggest change that he got, is back 1+2, and when you combine that nerf that got like 10 frames extra whiff recovery, that's pretty sizable. When you combine that with the reduced hitbox on up forward 4, I think a legit weakness now for Leroy is keep out. Because if you're trying to rush him down, what does he have as like a quick, safe move with low whiff recovery that he can just throw out?
He'll start doing 1-1s, but then they also made it so that the different extensions so that can be punished now. So if you can predict that as the opponent, hit the brakes, you get a punish in. So I don't know. I think this is going to be the approach.
He's got a good keep out.
Yeah,
his down forward one is still one of the best in the game. So you can still throw that out.
His back four,
back four.
Back four is amazing.
Great range.
But I think he's going to be weak on the approach now, which is funny because that was his strongest thing. But I think if you, good Leroy players are still going to do great with him because all they need is low pokes, down for 1, a mid launcher, stuff like that. But if you're playing against these guys online now, what you do is you space them out, and then you start moving sideways. And they can do the forward 3. You can walk that now. They can do forward 2-2. You can walk that now. And they can get to get into range and do a homing move like back 4, but that's slow. So you're gonna catch them moving horizontally, and you're gonna launch them. And I think just the fact that you get that breathing room, now you can, if the Leroy player is not at your level, you can find that space now, and you can go through them, which feels great. So I think that's good. But the good guys are still gonna fuck you up because they're good players.
One thing I really wanted to make clear about back 1+2 is that it's still a really good move.
Yeah.
It's just not stupid anymore. I think it's easy to look at patch notes and think, oh, well, it got X amount of nerfs. It must be a shit move now, whatever. It's very easy to fall into hyperbole. But no, all of his moves, all the moves that, even the ones that they nerfed, are still excellent, excellent moves.
Having a 12 frame mid is very rare in Tekken, and to have it counter hit launch, exactly. A good example of when you can use that is after some of Anna's strings that puts her into stance. A 12 frame mid actually is a is sort of a option selecting against every follow up after certain strings that she does. So like having that in that matchup is really good. Having it against the Bears, if he does running tackle on block at a certain range, it'll be a 12 frame mid will beat most options apart from one, which doesn't really do much damage. So like there's a lot of situations where having a 12 frame mid like that is going to be really good. And most people like Feng's back 4, Karina's back 3. People have 12 frame mids, but they don't count a hit launch. So it's still fucking good. It's still really good.
Yeah, I mean, the second best 12 frame mid that I can think of, and I'm probably forgetting something, but it's probably back 3 from Katarina, which they gave counter-hit knockdown properties in Season 3, which is weird. They also gave it like a damage buff. I think it does like 17 now, which is kind of high for that fast. But that is like standout powerful. I think it's honestly like one of the few things she has now that she's crap that stands out about her as being cool. But she gets the butt flop knockdown on counter hit now.
I think aside,
it doesn't give anything guaranteed though. It doesn't give anything.
No, obviously no. So it's not a launcher by any stretch of the imagination. But because that is like the second most powerful 12 frame mid that I could think of over the top of my head, sort of puts into perspective how good Leroy's move still is.
I think the second best 12 frame mid is probably Feng's back 4.
It's got great tracking.
Really good. Fish hook.
Yeah, fish hook. It's just it's such a great kind of lockdown tool. Like it's just it tracks, it's mids, he's kind of in a negative situation afterwards, as he should be, but it's just kind of like you stay put now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm Jelly Beans. I play Eliza, and I've got down forward one, and it's got like shit frame data and a weird hitbox. I've got actually I do have. What am I talking? I have a fish hook too.
Can fish hook be stepped? Actually, is it not a tracking move?
Are you talking about Eliza or Feng?
No. Feng.
Okay, I don't know.
Feng's back 4 has really good tracking to both sides. It's not homing, but it's essentially it's kind of like Dragunov's down 2 in a way. In that it's not homing, but you try stepping it, it's gonna hit you, right? So it's got great track. It's a really good move for his strong, because down forward, if Feng's down forward 1 can be stepped both ways as well. It has his down forward is 14 framing. It doesn't have any tracking, so you kind of have to use back 4 when you want to keep someone from sidestepping you. It's really good.
Okay. I mean, just to kind of look at the kind of like a summary change for Leroy, I think what they did is his keep out is a lot weaker, back 1+2 and up forward 4, and at the same time, so that forces him to be more proactive, and it forces him to be more aggressive. He can't just stand at kind of mid range and just throw back 1+2 out all day. But at the same time, they've made his approach weaker as well with the forward 3 nerf. So overall his kind of abusive game plan is considerably weaker when you look at the changes, not just individually, but in tandem with one another. So I think a weakness for the character is keep out, but I think close range, he's still kind of like a monster. He still has that parry. He still has the down forward 1. He still has 1/1.
His falling leaf. I think what Leroy players are going to do now is they're going to try and get in close, and they're going to mix mids with hell sweep, falling leaf, whatever you want to call it, because that move is still bananas, but it's high risk. You can get launch punished for getting it blocked, so people are going to attempt to mix that with orbital or faster mids.
At least there's the element of you needing to think now. You need to think, and that's why I don't really mind the down 3/2. I know it's +8, and you do get a mix up on Hermit, but at the end of the day, it's still a commitment. If you do duck the down 3, and the down 3, you can stay duck and you can launch him. Down 3/2 is launch punishable as well as his
down back 3. Yeah.
But when you think about it, he still has one of the best lows in the game, in my opinion. Down 2. I mean, it's 15 frames. It high crushes so quickly. We saw that used a lot by the high-level Leroys in Evo Japan. Down 2 is super good. If you try to punish that on block, you get counter hit by the second hit as well. So down 2/4 is counter hit confirmable as well, because down 2 on counter hit gives a different animation. So I think down 2, if you want to play Leroy now, you've got to stay in close range, because that's obviously where his best tools are going to work for you.
Yeah,
he has that back 1, which is safe. Down forward 1, down 2, and then of course he still has the orbital if you want to do it. But I like the changes because, like you said, the back 1+2, 10 frame more recovery. Even his back 2's parry has a lot more recovery. So all of these flow charts that you'd see from these annoying Leroys online, they're going to be a lot more punishable now. Better players are going to be able to beat these Leroy.
Because I think characters should get to have standout powerful moves. I think this character, like every character, should have something that they sort of specialize in, and then hopefully, if the character is interesting, that ends up creating the sort of play style you want to go for with that character. And maybe he has that now, and that's why people keep saying that Elisa is so bad, because the standout thing that they're trying to do with her is that you can turn the down 3 on clean hit into a DP2 into a full combo if you build up 2 bars, because then you can do her super. But that clean it down 3 categorically loses the backdash. And the only other move she has that gives her any kind of advantage, which is her dive kick 4, also loses the backdash. So as long as the opponent is good at moving, she doesn't have like anything. And then all the other frame data is like whack and super bad. So I think Elisa is an example of how not to do it, but I think Leroy has actually landed in a spot where he still has good things, and that's great. Like, King should have good grappling, and his throws should be better than other characters' throws, because that's how you want to play him. And then maybe, hopefully, he should suck at other things, and now you have things you have to think about as the player and as the opponent.
Yeah. I have a question. A very interesting question, right? I thought before the nerfs, I actually still think that in order for people, let's say Tekken World Tour 2020, in order for people to respect now a Leroy's win and not to bitch when they see a Leroy on the stream, shit, you're using Leroy. I thought they would have to have gutted this character completely, as in made him worse than Gigas and worse than Lily, whoever you think is the worst character. I thought just to get rid of, break his legs, take away his cane, I thought they would have to have destroyed the character for people to actually respect it now. Do you think that you're going to see people respecting Leroy now? Let's say if there's someone that sticks with Leroy in the Tekken World Tour or in any other tournament and plays Leroy, are we going to still see people saying, you're using Leroy, it doesn't count?
It's I don't think he deserves that kind of backlash anymore. And I think it's sad that they released him the way they did, because he's a cool character. I think he's one of the coolest designs they've put out in Tekken for decades, actually. He's really something interesting as a character design, and it's just so sad that he has this stigma attached to him now. I myself was really looking forward to playing him. I think he's obviously still a strong character. I think the biggest shame with him is he's a boring character. There's not much to him. I wish his game plan was a bit more evolved. There was a bit more to it. But I think now that he has weaknesses, I think he is a bit more interesting, because I think with Leroy, your focus now is you want to get in, and you want to stay in, and you want to poke. His mix-ups are really good, his pokes are good, and his counter hits are good, but all at close range. And in the mid-range, he still has that back 4. He still has good space control, but he doesn't have great damage potential, I think, in the mid to far range. So to answer your question, maybe people will still shit on Leroy, and I think that's a damn shame. He's a cool character.
I think so too. I think they will.
Yeah.
The people who still shit on him are going to be the people who maybe don't, know. But my answer to the question is this: I don't think anybody's going to use him.
You think anyone's going to use him?
I think after these nerfs, everybody who used him is going to go back to whoever they were playing before he came out.
I think there are a lot of people out there who genuinely like the character. So I think it's going to be good to separate the wheat from the chaff here. There are a lot of people who are like...
Maybe. There might be, but honestly, I feel like a majority of the people in high-profile tournaments we saw that went to Leroy were people who used him because they felt like they had to. Because otherwise, if everybody else is going to use him, then I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight and I'm going to lose. But honestly, I don't think that many people are going to use him. I'm looking forward to seeing Gonryu on the tour this year. I think he's going to show up a lot. And I honestly think people are sleeping on how good this character is. I think he's one of the better characters in the game. And there are people like Saint who are like known Gonryu users. So I think he's going to be a solid presence, maybe to the point where people get annoyed, kind of like how Jack used to be a big thing, back in the day. But I honestly don't think we're going to see much Leroy. And maybe part of that will be because of the backlash. Because if people are going to hate on him and I'm not going to get to be OP, then why would I use him?
While he's not OP, I still think he's clearly a strong character. And most importantly, one of his biggest strengths is that he's very simple. I mean, that's a big thing in a tournament. I mean, look at all the successful tournament characters conventionally, like Kazumi before in season 1, Jack. I mean,
and not simple execution, but very simple game plan.
Yeah, but Devil Jin's been around since the Stone Ages. I mean, people have played Devil Jin since Tekken Tag Tournament 1, essentially. And the reason why Akuma was good in season 3 is that he was always good, but people just kind of discovered how to optimize him in season 3. So, I do think there's definitely a lot to be said about simplicity and ease of use.
Yeah.
For a character, especially in a tournament setting. And I think that's going to be one of Leroy's big pluses. He still has scary lows. He still has a really good poke game. He still has a lot of great tools. I mean, and I'm sure we'll still see him.
1-1, like it's 1-1, 1+2. We know it got nerfed, so it doesn't wall splat, but it's still a 10 frame counter hit string.
Yes,
and it actually doesn't even need to be counter hit. The second one can still hit you, and the rest of it's guaranteed. So it's not abusable anymore as it was before, like in the previous patch, but it's still something that can net you a lot of damage in a tournament setting. Like I said, it's literally you're mashing one and you're getting 45 or 42 damage or something from a 10 frame strings. So
and that's how the tournament. And that's how Evo Japan ended.
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he did that string for the wall split, and then he also did the same string for the wall combo. So it was like coming on the audience's face and then like slapping them, when it was done. Not even giving them like money for a cab home. It was fucking dirty, dude. What do you think, Spag? I mean, you're obviously closer to the tour than we are. Like, how do you feel about the character lineup? Like, what are you expecting to see?
It's weird because season 3 is the most, in my opinion, the most volatile season we've had. Damage is at its highest. Wall carry, finding walls in Tekken 7 was already really easy because the stages were small, but now we got more wall carry. Look at Josie Jin and other characters, even Dragunov. So I feel like, it's going to be very volatile. As a competitor, I would hate to be competing in season 3 because it would just be so. I feel like there's going to be so many robberies. But as a commentator,
it's fun.
I'm not gonna lie, it's fun. Yeah, it's really good to watch. But I can't help empathize for the players. But I mean, it's gonna be intense.
Volatility is a key word in fighting games, especially in the past couple of years. A lot of people complain that Street Fighter V is too volatile as well. It's unpredictable. You have the whole V trigger system, and you can. From a poke, you can get like 60% O-key reset. And it seems like the current trend in fighting games is, crazy wombo combo, comeback factor, that kind of stuff. I mean, as you said, it probably makes for more entertaining events, more entertaining streams. But as a player and as a competitor, it's frustrating. Guys, what do you think about this trend towards volatility and unpredictability in fighting games?
Good question. I
can see why they're doing it.
I'd rather have it be unpredictable than be predictable if I had a choice. And the only events I've watched so far when I didn't enjoy watching Tekken is when people were using the same characters and playing them in predictable ways. And I feel like right now, the only character I'm worried about in for this year, for the tournament season, is Akuma, because I feel like he was changed a bit, but he still functions very similarly to the way he did in the past, and he kind of ruined the last year's tour for me a little bit. And I think people are kind of forgetting about him because of the Leroy event, but now that Leroy's nerfed back down, those guys in Pakistan who are complete monsters with Akuma, they're still out there, and they're going to show up. So apart from Akuma, I think volatility could be, if it comes down to character variety, I think it's interesting. But in the fighting game system, I want it to be homogenized enough that the best player tends to win, and it doesn't come down to like random stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think in season 3, it's yet to be proven if that's going to be the case. I think it will be. I still think that the best players are still going to win. If you're the best player, if you're the Knees and the Arslans and the low highs, Chikorins, you're gonna be winning, right? Even with this volatile system, because their defense is so strong. But I feel like for other people, for the high level, intermediate to high level, it's going to be so crazy for them. We're going to see inconsistent results, and it's because they've gone down this route of, instead of nerfing characters, they just thought, fuck it, let's just buff everyone. Let's just make the wallbound system. Let's buff the wallbound system so that you can get wallbounds from any angle. Let's give everyone really good wall carry. Let's increase the damage, and that's one thing. I was talking to I was actually watching JFK stream. He's a Swedish streamer, and he was thinking about ways that you could just reduce combo damage without changing the game too much. And right now there's characters that get mid 70s with safe launches. Look at Shaheen. Look at the damage that guy gets from a down
4-2.
70 plus damage. You shouldn't be getting that. I mean, that's crazy amount of damage in the open, man. And
I agree. It's crazy.
Probably going to find a wall.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you should be getting a really damaging combo should be 65 damage, in my opinion.
A really damaging combo. Like combo specialists in used to get that. Like Katarina and Lars, who like specialize in combo damage, used to be able to get off of standard punishable launchers for the most part, maybe with the exception of Lars's orbital. Used to be able to get like exactly 65, but characters who were good at other things like Kazumi, poking, moving, punishing, but weren't good at combos, used to get like 56 off of the standard combo. And now and
now even Kazumi got more wall carry, man. Fucking crazy.
And now Katarina and Lars get an easy 70 off of a 15 frame hop kick, and stuff like that. We've talked about it a lot on this podcast, how it's kind of crazy. And one thing that was brought up last time that I thought was interesting is like just a big fat nerf to the ability to constantly find the wall, because the wall carry is at such is so powerful for so many characters right now. Like if you're playing Julia, for example,
Holy shit, man.
Julia, you can be at the opposite side of the largest stage in the game and still get the wall, which basically means, as far as game mechanics are concerned, that the wall carry is infinite. Because it's as long as it could, ever possibly need to be, right? And there are a couple of characters like that. Dragunov can basically do it, for example.
Can he still do that? He got patched. His 3-1 string.
3-1.
Yeah. I think he can't kind of cancel into it over and over again. Yeah, I think his wall carry was slightly reduced. Yeah. But I mean, I think you're right.
But even Dragunov still has a new string where he can get a lot of wall carry. Julia, every time you get a launch, is a great point. Every time you get a launch with Julia, you're gonna get the wall, and it's a lot of damage as well.
Yeah, and the new moves that you saw that came out for season 3, Eliza, just off the top of my head, Eliza, Jin, Dragunov, Elisa, they all got Josie specifically got higher like diagonal super healthy like wall carry conversion tools that are like no brainers as well. Like Elisa like flips you on the wall and then goes into a stance, you press all the buttons and it's like an optimal wall combo, So it's a direction that the game has definitely been heading in, and I'm not sure it's healthy. So like, okay, so we go to an infinite stage, but then on the infinite stage, matchups become a huge thing, and characters who are good at those stages, Kazuya, Jack, become super dope. But maybe your character sucks dick, so it's a problem.
Yeah.
I think it's just the thing that bothers me most about it is it's so homogenized now, the wall carry. I mean, when you look at and it's a lot to do with the screw system, because the screw system ensures that everyone has excellent wall carry. And we talked about this on a previous episode, but there's a weird byproduct is that optimal combo damage is from like mid-screen or even slightly behind with mid-screen. I mean, an idea in fighting games is that you should be rewarded for pushing the opponent into the corner through movement, right? But now, if you're getting your optimal combo when your back is to the wall, that's bizarre. That's bizarre.
It doesn't make sense.
Like Julia gets more damage from a combo when her back is to the wall, for example, because she can get more hits in. So from a pure fight,
kills you if his back is to the wall.
Right? Yeah, he can turn you around. It's like from a fighting game theory point, it doesn't make sense. And
maybe that's why they came up with wall bounce. They wanted you to actually want to push your opponent towards the wall, so they gave you something,
Potentially, yeah, that could be one of the ideas behind it. But for me, it's just the homogenization of it. Like most of the characters are going to find the wall after a combo, when before it was only a few characters, and that was their specialty. Like Lee, for example, that was his thing.
And it was hard too, which is important.
Yeah. It was his thing, and there was an execution barrier to it, and now it's pretty easy. You're getting to the wall, and you're getting your wall combo, and you're getting a wall pressure.
The biggest victim of this are the people who played Nina and learned how to do her flapping.
Oh yeah, her butterfly wings. Yeah.
Because what's the point? And you can even play Nina, and you don't need to do those anymore. Imagine someone that's like, and there are people out there who have just like perfected that. Were able to take you to the wall, and it was so sick. And it's like, yeah, now this is a strength of mine, but now any character can have the same wall carry. It doesn't matter. You don't need to do it anymore. It's
I remember that. Like the dopest combo people in Tag 2 picked Nina and Lars because they could, because Lars had he was Unga Bunga, but he had the best tag bufferable stuff. And his wall combo was dope. And then you used Nina for those insane flapping butterfly wall combos. And you could do these like 20 plus hit combos, and it was specific team, specific, setup. Really difficult to do the flapping butterflies,
Oh yeah, man. That's the only practice team. I remember when he came to France, and we saw him do these insane combos and setups with Nina and Lars. Like, no one minded that, man. It was like you required execution. It required you to put in a grind to get that damage and that wall carry. But now it's like, yeah, hop kick. All right, you're to the wall. Boom, easy.
This is actually a good point. I personally don't think execution is it's interesting. I don't think it's the most interesting part of fighting games. At least it's not the meat and potatoes of fighting games. That lies in the mind games, the conditioning, the movement, all this other stuff. But I still think that you should be rewarded for good execution. I mean, if technical skill is how you want to express yourself, then players should be allowed to do that. And there should be a real tangible reward for that. But at the same time, I don't think you should get these crazy meta shifting rewards for execution. And that's kind of where I think Akuma steps a line.
I was going to say, that's Akuma, yeah. I think like maybe the Mishimas kind of ride that line, ideally, if they are perfectly balanced, because you get something that is exceptionally good, but it's difficult to do. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, Rise of the Robots or whatever it was called was like a really interesting thing that they tried to release a fighting game where there was no execution.
Yes.
And you just literally pressed buttons. I never tried it. I don't know.
There have been a bunch of fighting games which have it wasn't called Rise of the Robots. What was it? Rise of the Robots is this really shitty game from the 90s. But
I'm sorry. Rise of the Robots. It probably was Arid.
Something Thunder. Rising Thunder. And it was a game that, you're right, it completely removed the execution, and it made it pure mind games. And I personally didn't find it that interesting because I think there is a Dive Kick as well. That's another game that's purely about mind games, no execution. I mean, I think there is something to be said about execution kind of attaching you to a character. Kind of creating a link between you and the character. Like just the motion of, doing forward 2, whatever, and getting a dash punch. If you could just do that by pressing one button, it would feel different. And it wouldn't be as satisfying.
Like, how do you feel, Spag, about, for example, because you're a capo player, right? So if you play a lot of capos, you have to shift your execution and strategy in a sense where you kind of start neglecting horizontal movement a lot, but you need to become very good at it. A lot of backdashing, right?
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's like a cool thing that's like cool for you when you play capos, or do you feel like it's just frustrating when you go and try and play another character? Now you have to adjust.
he's unique in that way, isn't it? Well, and there's a lot of characters that are unique in that way. He's not going to use lateral movement, but his his backdash has a very specific timing which you need to get used to, and it's a different mind game. You don't have to worry too much about the 3D game. You just worry more about your spacing, your keep out with the side to this 4-7-4 and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's that's the reason why I enjoy playing Eddie. People think that it's sad because there's a stigma attached to Eddie and Capos that they're mashy and they're easy wins. And they used to be in Tag 2. I'm not going to even lie, they were very easy to win in Tag 2, but in this game it's a lot harder, especially when we've been talking about all these characters getting combo buffs, and Eddie didn't really get any buffs or combo buffs. So I mean, I definitely enjoy the uniqueness of
that. That reminded me of something earlier. You said that the key defining kind of point or play style about Koreans was their movement, and in Pakistan it's about space control and punishment, optimal punishment. So what on that point, I mean, if it's not so, is Eddie a popular character in Pakistan? Because his 2D movement is very good, right? So do they see potential in that character?
The problem is that although his 2D movement is really good, and like Nee said that Pakistanis don't really use a lot of lateral movement, it doesn't mean that he's a good character. According to them, the Pakistanis, and this is the reason why they've been playing Akuma since season 1. And when everybody was putting, even top players were putting Akuma on B tier, C tier, Pakistanis were saying you guys are stupid. He's S tier, and people, they were just saying shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. And then Atif and Awais proved it. Pakistanis are the kind of people that they will find what's broken and they will use it. They love. There's a lot of diversity, by the way. Don't get it twisted. And when you could just go and watch Takra Cup, the archives are still there. Go watch it, and it was one of the most diverse character tournaments I've ever seen. But there are Eddie players out there. There's people that play every character, man. But they do tend to like other countries use characters that are strong. Even if they don't have their own playstyle.
Spag, I want to ask if Korea is about movement and Pakistan is about space control and punishment, what do you think American Tekken and European Tekken focuses on or is strong at?
Snake edges.
I think it's not far off, man. I feel like European playstyle is quite unique, but it's very field based. Very setup heavy as well. This is the way that we play Tekken, and it's partly to do with the fact that we've grown up. A lot of the newer players, even older players, playing online now. We're not playing offline is not as prevalent anymore. So relying on these just raw setups and high risk, high reward sort of situations is kind of how the general European playstyle is, and it's why it's so entertaining to watch, and it's why we have so much diversity. Because people just throw everything in the kitchen sink and try and get the damage. Of course, we do have players like Sefi, like Asim, and Asim's Pakistani, but you have Sefi and all these other guys, Guni, who are very, very solid, and they're defensive, and so there's a variety of play styles in Europe. But generally speaking, I feel like that's how Europe is.
That's such a good point. I've never thought about that, but that's such an interesting point. Like what does it do to like a region of Tekken players when they don't have that offline pedigree? Korea, Japan, all the people who are really good now started out. I mean, and Cali and stuff like that. Learning it probably in the arcades, paying money for every single loss in an environment with no online lag, probably playing on the same machine as their opponent, but European Tekken is all about online pretty much from the start.
Yeah.
So when I was making that joke about Snake Edge, it is a move that can be difficult to react to online. And so it becomes this like, things that aren't really a 50-50 can become a 50-50 in Europe,
And it's so interesting when you see it, because you look at people like Dinosaur, who you've had on the podcast. You look at people like Starscream, who's his
and they start on the arcade. They play, they're old school.
Arcade. Ryan Hart, Asim, Ryan Hart, Starscream, Dinosaur. They're European, but they do not have the general European playstyle. They play in a very conventional by the kind of more by the book and kind of solid play style, if you would. It's a vague term, but I would say that, more of a solid kind of play style, not so crazy and risky, and they stay so calm under pressure, so calm. Whereas people, if they got rage, if they got like a few pixels left, they're gonna do something. They don't know what they're gonna do. So there's that huge difference as well. And then you look at because you could make an argument it's because they're old school. Well, fine. Let's look at newer school players. There's a guy, his name is Chicken Maru. I only started playing in Tekken 7. This guy quickly became top 5 in the UK and got set, first to 5 wins over CBM. And this is offline, by the way, and almost beat Low High. Like, this guy is certainly one of the best in Europe, got multiple top 8s in the few tournaments he went to. Why? Because this guy would go to the Red Bull venue in London and sit down and play this kind of, they would do like this kind of thing where they just do winner stays on, whoever, and he would get 40 wins in a row and just like grind all the time. This guy would just play the fuck out of Tekken offline, and that's how this guy got good. And he hasn't really got that kind of conventional European playstyle as well. So I feel like, the online offline thing is very important, and the reason why the UK has been stepping up a lot is because they have that. They've been getting more offline practice. Look at Kane and Trench as well. That guy grinded at tournaments offline back in Tag 2. So it's important, man. It's very important.
It's been a while since I live in the UK. Where are the offline events taking place? Because when I was there, it was Hog. It was the Heart of Gaming. It was a few years ago, and before that was of course Casino, Troc, and whatnot. Where are players getting their games in now offline?
So you have the Red Bull Gaming Sphere in East London, Shoreditch, which is that would open, I think, Thursdays. Not every Thursday, but Thursday generally they'll be open for games. The East London Fighters guys, they do stuff sometimes. District G will do things sometimes as well. But generally speaking, the Red Bull venue is in London, is where people do things. And for other scenes, I know I'm not too I don't have too much knowledge about where everyone plays, but I know Leeds has a venue where these guys play games. I know Birmingham they have a WhatsApp group, a Midlands kind of group where people from the Midlands meet up and they just organize themselves to have a venue and they play. So there's a lot of offline Tekken happening. That's why Birmingham is getting really strong. I'm not living in London anymore. I live in Birmingham now, and I'm seeing that the players there are getting incredibly strong now as well. And it's because of that offline practice. These guys are meeting up. It makes such a huge difference. It's incredible. And it's mad because Korea is one of the reasons why I feel Korea have been getting weaker is because they haven't been getting offline.
Green Arcade, it closed, and it's not just the of course playing offline is optimal because the there's no lag and whatnot, so you can play defensively and solid. But there's also the social aspect and creating rivalries and friendships, especially the rivalries. I think that's so important. To have a friendly...
Not just important, I think it's underrated. It's super underrated. Like having that offline, the social interactions, like you said, is so underrated. And it's one of the reasons why I feel like a lot of people got strong. It's not just because of like you said, the no lag and this and that. And it's great to see because I feel like Korea have been getting weaker because of it. I asked Low High, I asked Ni, and they kind of agreed with it. But now, it's good to see. Actually, I just saw a tweet today. Corey have a... They got a venue now in Seoul.
I saw that.
They've been players have been going down there. So shout out to those guys, man.
Gerald's a great guy.
When I was in Korea, they were specifically talking about creating that just for those guys, to kind of get these guys better at the game.
I agree completely. I mean, sometimes now when I play, because I talked about those 5 guys that I started with back in Sweden. When I play Tekken right now and I'm having like a rough day, I'm, losing or whatever, and I'm feeling frustration, I try and do this mindfulness exercise where I try why do I still play this game? Why does it still matter to me? And it turns out for the most part is even though I haven't been with that group of friends, basically since I moved to Japan, even though I don't get to see them anymore, I'm still just waiting for the next weekend. We're all going to meet up and play Tekken. And I'm going to show them all this dope shit I learned and, how much better I got while I was away. So even though I'm not consciously thinking about it, the only reason I keep trying to get better at Tekken and keep playing is because of loving relationships with people I had in the real world. It created that personal connection, and then the game became an obsession and an addiction and whatever. but that came from like other things. And I think, like you say, it's like super underrated. But it's weird how, I mean, we all make like YouTube now and stuff. I have people in my comments going like, I don't have an offline scene. I live in, fucking, buttfuck Wisconsin, and there's nobody. How can I try and like artificially create like an offline vibe? Do I need to like get some of my like friends from school and try and teach them tech so that they can get really good? And then, like they're trying to, offline is becoming like this legendary old golden age that everybody is nostalgic about, and the new guys who live online are like trying to like artificially recreate it in weird ways, which is super interesting to me.
I totally agree, and I don't necessarily think that you can't create that kind of community or atmosphere online, and I think games could be doing a lot more on that front. I mean, first of all, there's a whole need to have good netcode issue, but what if at the end of a match, the game kind of suggested or recommended you to send a friendly message to your opponent?
It would just be flames and fuck you and how cheap the word bomb is.
But no, what if it rewarded you in some way to message the other player? To
if
create
it rewarded you, okay, trust me, dude, it would be such fucking darkness you can't even imagine. Like, I will split your rib cage open and dance on your insides until you're indistinguishable from barbecue sauce. And like that's the kind of thing that would be coming through exclusively. Your soul is made of cock cheese. I mean, it would be complete fucking darkness.
And you get rewarded for it as well. You get rewarded for that shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to. I mean, if that was an option, I would have it turned off always, because I think because you're online and you're sort of anonymous, you get to say anything, and so all of your frustration goes into a message where you're just like, fuck your everything and all that you are and your character and the moves you used. But if you're sitting next to somebody, you can't say that shit, so you have to like shake their hand.
There's no getting around the anonymity of online, of course, and that's the kicker, isn't it? That's the kicker.
Yeah.
But
I think a great sort of story to tell about the online offline thing is Fergus's story, because Fergus, as we know, is a 2 times Tekken World Tour finalist.
Yep.
One of the best players in the world. We've got to admit it. He is. He'll be competing tomorrow as well. He's coming to Switzerland later on today. Very, very strong player. But you know what? When we were playing Tag 2, he had no one in his team. It was only him and one other guy, Kuro, who used to play Law and Steve back then. But even he didn't play that much. So Fergus grinded online. He learned from online. It wasn't the best environment, but he didn't have anything else. So online, flew himself to, these tournaments where he could actually then refine those skills that he learned, apply them offline, and just become better slowly over time, But then in Tekken 7, there were other players that wanted to go. Obviously, a lot of Tekken 7 blew up. A lot of people got involved, and there were some Irish players. And then Fergus was very, very good at reaching out to them, saying, "Hey, I'm going to do some offline sessions, guys. Come down, play the game online, enjoy it. But I'm here to teach you guys what I've learned from my time traveling over Tag 2 and learning this game." So now you got people like Senor Farfalla, you got like a guy called Jason, and Piers. There's so many people. And even a guy called John, who actually beat Fergus. He's a Marduk player, man. He beat Fergus in a tournament, and people are saying maybe he's the best in Ireland. So he now has a very thriving, amazing community in Ireland here in Tekken 7 now. So I think you can get to a very good level online, and if you fly yourself to tournaments and you have the passion, have the drive, it's very possible. And I'm sure other people, that's how you can kind of grow a scene. It's a good example of growing a scene, from nothing to something.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's the whole thing I try to do with my channel, because like I said, I'm pretty new to the game, actually, even though I played a lot. But what I try to do, like my whole thing was, it's this difficult, dark thing that you get obsessed with and do a lot, but maybe I can walk a couple of steps ahead of you holding a lantern and then maybe show the way. As I'm learning new things and experiencing new things, maybe I can like pull a couple of people with me. And I think the reason my channel got any kind of momentum is the success of Tekken 7, because the game blew up. But I remember guys like you and I mean back in Tekken Tag 2 with Rip and Eris and stuff like that, who were like trying to do a podcast every week when the game was like dead and dog shit and nobody cared. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tekken Tag 2 was crazy, man. If you think about it, like, you just had to have pure passion for the game to play that. And I loved it. The people I met as well. I didn't know anyone in the scene. In my opinion, the London scene was quite it wasn't welcoming, not to me anyway. So I did go to some tournaments, but I didn't really feel like I should go offline. So the online people that I met, Fergus, Mr. Adamo, and all these guys, and we finally met up or like 10 of us, 10 people from online that I've never seen before in my life, but we've been talking to them for years. We met up. They came to my house in London, and we went to a tournament together. And then, we just started traveling more and more. And it's still happening to this day. That was Tag 2 times. That was just pure passion and our friends, our group of friends from online that we met. And it's happening even till today, man. It's the same shit. We're meeting up. We're going to tournaments, just having a good time, man. And it's great. And in the meanwhile, all these scenes have been growing from it. So it's really cool, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, going back to Fergus, he is incredibly generous with his time. When the first video that we made on TBS, it was the character overviews, and that was based off Fergus's guide, and that's kind of like what the channel started from. And really, probably the channel might not even exist without Fergus's help getting it moving with that first video. So
one thing I can say about him is he genuinely cares about helping people. It's the most genuine thing. Yeah,
for sure.
He's not looking for clout or anything. He just genuinely cares.
He genuinely loves the game, and he genuinely wants more people to play it. That's a really beautiful thing. And if Buttfuck Wisconsin doesn't have much of a scene, you can plant the seeds, right? You can plant the seeds.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think one of the topics we wanted to talk about is patching. You mentioned this, Spag, that you want to talk. You specifically want to talk about: are we patching games too much?
Yeah.
Because
the whole thing was like, I feel, obviously Tekken Tag 2, that's the game where I started to learn the game mostly, and it was just one patch in the beginning, and then nothing for like 4 years. So maybe. I don't know, man. Is it too much? Is what we're getting now? I don't know. I'm not new to this. Maybe you'll know better.
For sure. I agree. I think there's definitely something to be said about letting the meta for a game settle and allowing the community to really dive deep into it. I mean, I think that currently, if we were still playing Season 2 or even Season 1, the tiers would be radically different now, and competitive play would be different, even without all the changes that the developers or without all the patches. I mean, a game's meta, especially with a game as complex as Tekken, will shift naturally over time. And that's part of what makes a fighting game interesting, I think, because you're leaving it in the hands of the community and you're leaving it in the hands of the player, especially with Tekken, because Tekken is a game which kind of the play style and the way it's been balanced over the years is totally a symbiosis between how people played it and how the developers created it. Because I'm pretty sure they didn't intend for backdash canceling to be as powerful as it was. I'm sure that like they didn't intend to put in backdash canceling in there, and now it's an integral kind of core of the game that the game is obviously balanced around. The development team clearly knows how strong backdashes are, and they balance the game around it. But it was the community that figured out in the first place that, oh shit, backdash canceling's pretty good. Backdashing and whiff punishing's movement is pretty good. So I think if the developer is just patching it constantly, they're kind of taking away the voice of the community and their input, and it's not that symbiosis anymore. It's not that conversation. It's like a teacher telling you how you're supposed to play.
It's a really good point, and I think it's one of the interesting things about that is I think it's pretty obvious that for better or worse, no advanced Tekken player seem to work at Namco.
I think a few give input. I think a few definitely give input.
I mean, yeah, but like actually like work in character development.
The interesting thing is I don't understand why the people who because obviously it's not Harada and Michael Murray personally making all the changes. It's obviously a team, and I wish we heard more from that team. I wish we could talk to that team. I wish they were more visible and transparent.
Yeah, totally. Like developer diary stuff would be really cool.
Yeah, that's what they did with Killer Instinct. That's what they did with Killer Instinct, and that was a fantastic way of reaching out to the community. Every time they made a patch, they listed not just all the changes, but the reasoning and the thought process behind those changes, and that was incredible. I mean, it's a shame. Killer Instinct did so many things so well. It's just a shame that it didn't catch on because it wasn't released on a Sony platform. It was exclusive to Microsoft. But sorry, you were gonna say, Frame?
No, I was gonna say that I think few patches and like big impactful patches like Season 2, Season 3, I think is a very good idea. But it also depends on what kind of patch you want to release. Like small, tiny changes all the time probably gets annoying, but I think if you want to make these big patches that are supposed to balance and shift the meta, then they should shift the meta. And honestly, like if you have an original arcade version of Tekken where Gigas is one of the worst characters, you go to retail, you change a bunch of things, he's still one of the worst characters. If you release Season 2, he's still one of the worst characters. You release Season 3, still one of the worst characters, and just keeps going like that. I, would like to see like few strong patches, but honestly, ones that are impactful enough that characters that were near the bottom of the tier list might all of a sudden find themselves in the middle or near the top, and where characters who find themselves consistently near the top all of a sudden might not be considered that strong anymore. And that, unfortunately, in my opinion, doesn't happen. I mean, you have characters like Dragunov, and the question is he going to be top 1, top 3, top 5, maybe top 10? But there's never been a patch where Giga suddenly is like a major contender for the top of the tier list, and Dragunov goes near the bottom. And I think that would be more interesting for me because every season, iteration, and tournament season of Tekken would be different. And so I would be for fewer, more impactful patches where I want not the characters themselves, but the tier list to change. Would be interesting to me. And if you're striving for a perfect balance, that would realistically happen. But if you have characters you think should be weak and characters you think should be strong, I think something like what we're seeing happens. And so I think the developers of the game are playing favorites. I think they weigh character popularity into the way they balance characters, and that bothers me. And I think that's one of the reasons you end up with something like Leroy. Character popularity and excitement leads to better frame data and better moves, and I think that's a problematic way to balance and design a game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's clear that when Leroy was released, they wanted this character to be super strong. It's clear as daylight. And in that case, I think when it comes to an emergency patch like the one we just got to level out the playing field, to normalize him, so to speak, that's definitely to the benefit of the game. The game is more positive all around. It's a better game. But I like
when CBM's telling me that there are Koreans that are just not playing the game anymore, like a bunch of Koreans that are like, I'm not playing Tekken anymore. There's a problem. There's a huge problem. So, they have to do that.
Leroy was toxic to the community, and it's a shame. Like I keep saying, he's a really cool character, but he was just way too strong. But we're talking about like these big meta shifting patches, and they seem to come around once every year now. And do you think that is too often? No.
For me, it's the most exciting. Like I got caught in the office when the patch notes dropped. In my Japanese office where everybody's a fucking samurai, and I was like illegally fucking downloading and printing out patch notes, and I was like, oh my god, what did they do to Lars? Is he going to be good now? Did they change this and that? And it was like one of the most exciting times since the release of the game. So I think obviously the excitement goes down if it happens more often, but if they were to happen twice a year, I think that would be super dope, because people like Elise has been super a slightly different flavor of shit in every version of the game. But, you know, all the, like the people who come to my channel, the Eliza players, the Miguel players, you know, they're like, maybe this is the one where something really dope happens and we get super viable, you know?
And it's that period of discovery as well, you know, just having that kind of those weeks of just being able to like find new things. Things that were not in the patch notes as well. Even Leroy had some nerfs that weren't in the patch notes. You know, that like his for example, his 1+2 string, it doesn't combo at the wall anymore. It doesn't give you a 60% hit at the end. Like there's small little things that are like that can be nerfs and buffs that you don't even get on the patch notes.
Yeah, I still sometimes I don't necessarily agree there because I still think again, as I said, for a game as complex as Tekken, it can take years for the community and the meta to develop to what it should be. And I actually think for a game of Tekken's complexity, a year might be too often. But I understand why they're doing it. It keeps the game fresh and exciting and interesting. But sometimes I feel like some of those balance decisions aren't. The thought process isn't let's make the best game possible. It's how can we manufacture hype? And
yeah. Right? I mean, look at Melee for Christ's sakes.
Melee?
Melee is like super old. It doesn't change.
Oh, Smash Melee.
Yeah. Fox is like super dope, but you know, Hungry Box, like there's one like super high level puff guy. Couple of people like trying to still make like
Hungry
Falco
Box.
And a couple of people playing like Falco at a really high level, but not being quite as good as Fox. But that's a meta that's been like settled for a really long time. You know, Armada in Sweden with his Peach.
Yeah.
Couple of wild cards, couple of cool things happening. And it's a tiny roster as well. I think maybe that's a good argument for like, you know, just let it like be and see what happens, you know, let it, you know, grow mold and like become funky in all its ways naturally. As long as there's not something like Leroy and Akuma that is like categorically better than everything else. I think that could be an interesting way to go about it.
I think both of you guys are right, man. I think both of you guys are right in a way. If you just combine both your points together in a way, like so yes, the meta definitely is such a complex game, Tekken. Even if, let's say we had season 1, if we just had season 1 for 3 years, then we would discover so many new things. Like for example, we all thought Dragunov and Jack were broken, or not broken, but really fucking OP. But why? Because Saint and JDCR played those characters and they were dominant. It's because of the player. But we thought, oh, the character, man, blah, 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 they're winning everything. But then who came at the end and won the World Tour? It was Kudans with Devil Jin. And now all of a sudden, that character that people didn't really look at as being a high tier. Oh, he's too hard. This is what they're saying. Too hard. The execution is too much. He's not a good character. Boom, Kudans wins. Oh no, shit, man, Devil Jin is good. And imagine now if Arsalan and Awais Hani and Atif were in season 1, if they were competing. Now all of a sudden, Kazumi's fucking. Everyone was saying she was really good. But
good point. Yeah,
you know, she would have been seen as even better than she was already considered. And then Akuma, who people weren't really rating too highly. I mean, Awais Hani definitely could have won some tournaments in season 1 with his Akuma in the second World Tour. So there was definitely things we were missing that we didn't know. Like we thought we knew it all, but we didn't. But what I think with the season changes are the big changes. Why they're doing it is because they're forcing the change instead of us organically finding out the difference. You know, kind of new things and new characters that are actually better than they originally were thought. They are manufacturing that artificially themselves with these patches by releasing these massive changes, because change is what is hype for the community. It's something that Tekken hasn't had that we can go in and we can see. You know, Katarina, for example, she was she played a certain way in season 1. She was buffed, but over everything she was changed, and that was interesting as well, which I'm personally not a fan of, but it's definitely something fresh, and people are actually they do like that. They like that I have to change my playstyle now. I have to play a different way, and it's fun and it's exciting for people. Like Gurlanda, he was saying it was really exciting that he had to play a different way with Katarina now. Then he won the LCQ with that Katarina in 2018. Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of both sides of it. I personally, I'm fine with it. I'm okay with you making these massive changes. I just don't like it when it's in the middle of the Tekken World Tour season.
Oh yeah, that's a big problem, and that happened a few times with the last season. Right?
Happened, man.
Yeah.
Season 3, dude. That was the
biggest
kicker. Thing. It was so many changes.
Yeah.
And the person I feel like, he like Asim, I feel like he got bodied because of that. Katarina got nerfed. Yeah. We all know about how much she got nerfed. Kazumi got nerfed, and Geese got nerfed. Those are the 3 characters he used. And so he was Asim didn't really have a lot of time to play. He's got 2 kids and he works a lot, but he was comfortable. He was winning tournaments. He won Head Stomper. He won WSO. He won a few more in season 2. And then this huge change came, and his characters got nerfed. And Geese, you could say, was still good, but he was changed. That's why I'm saying that there's
and he was worse. He was a lot worse. He was changed, but he was
a lot worse, but he was changed.
Yeah.
So he was buffed in some ways, and he was nerfed in some ways. So you had to play him differently. And Chikrin kind of showed how that was capable of being done in the World Tour Finals this year, for 2019. He won with Geese. Even though he won the Grand Finals with Kuma, he got all the wins with Geese, and because his damage was so high, you got to rely more on meter management and that standing too. So, like, I don't know. I just feel like you need to give players who are competing some time to adjust to this shit, man. Yeah. And right now is the time. It's this off season. That's when you give people the chance to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have a few kind of general rules I think that developers should try to stick to when patching or updating or whatever a game. The first is, of course, try not to do it in the middle of a competitive season. It's very anti-competitive. Second of all, I think that as far as is possible, I mean, if a move should be, let's talk about buffs and nerfs. Generally, a character shouldn't be nerfed, I think, because nobody likes having something taken away from them. It's really discouraging for a player to have discovered a certain play style. It's like, oh no, that's too good. No, we'll take that away from you, unless the move you're nerfing is to the detriment of the overall game or invalidates a lot of their other moves. Yeah, if the character is more interesting because they have to use a wider diversity of their moveset, that's a good nerf, right? But I really think that as far as is possible, developers should focus on buffing characters.
For the most part, but then again, eventually 7 buff the characters consistently for so long that now all the damage is super whack because the health bars haven't gotten any larger.
Yeah, then it's creep. It's power creep, right?
And the distance to the wall hasn't gotten any further. So I think like
then you get season 3.
Exactly, yeah. So like I think a good like amalgamation of these different viewpoints would be simply, okay, Gigas is like consistently shit for like a really long time. We don't have to like, destroy the way Steve functions to give him a chance to compete. So maybe we could do something for him to make him a factor. And do something that seems really quite strong and really quite powerful. And you just throw that rock into the pond and you let it ripple and you see what happens, But I could see like, stuff like season 4 where changes come out, but they don't necessarily affect all characters. Because it's been a little bit of a democracy so far where every character gets a new move. Every character gets, changes, adjustments. And every character that gets nerfed also gets a buff, like a Band-Aid. And every character that gets nerfed also gets some buffs. What if like there's like a patch where we do like a lot of stuff for Miguel, Eliza, and Gigas, but we don't necessarily fuck with like the higher tiers? It could be interesting,
Yeah, sure. It's all a little bit crazy at the moment, I feel, with season 3. And that's why I'm actually quite looking forward to the World Tour season, just to see what happens. We've got but in a way, it's actually pretty good as well because we have so many characters that are good. So we're gonna get diversity. We're gonna get Lohai playing his Shaheen. We're gonna have Arslan playing his Athena, and people will still be rocking Akuma. And there are going to be Leroy's as well, undoubtedly. So it's good. In a way, it's crazy, but it's still kind of balanced. You know what I mean? It's still balanced in its own way.
There are enough characters that are really good. There are enough characters that are really good, which is good. We won't see any Miguels on the world, or unless Steve Black makes a real effort and gets really far. But there are enough characters that are really good. My big prediction is that the big dark horse is Gonryu. I have a feeling he's just going to be a presence. I hope.
Could be. A lot relies on the player as well. That's the thing. A lot relies on the player itself. There has to be a player to actually make that. And a Saint, like you said, is that guy.
Yeah.
Can he do it? I believe in him. I think
he was the world #1 when I started Tekken. So he was the guy I was watching, He was the official world champion when I started. So I was like, okay, this is like, and he was playing like Bob Gonryu in Tag 2, right?
Yes,
and that was super dope.
That was a sick team.
Yeah, that was sick. Him and El Negro with the Kunimitsu Raven team. Those were the guys that really got me going. Because they were character specialists and they play these weird, cool teams. Like the fat team and the ninja team,
El Negro is sick.
Yeah. It's always fun to see unconventional characters. But, if, I think most of all, I prefer a hands-off approach when it comes to balancing. If something is particularly egregious, like 5.0 Steve or what Leroy just was, then of course, round off those edges. But the focus I think should be on buffs, and as you were saying, buffs to the lower end of kind of a character tier list. And if a character is fine as they are, just leave them. I feel like sometimes the thing is with a season patch change is that developers think that okay, everyone needs some new toys to play with, so we have to give something to all of these characters, even if they were just fine before. Which is kind of why I think that like Steve got his stupid ass rage drive in season 2. And I'm a Steve player, but I still think that's really dumb. I still think his rage drive is kind of ridiculous.
He had a really shitty rage drive at first, right?
He did, but I mean,
then they just gave him a good one too.
It was very specialized. It wasn't something you could just throw out. It was very good at the wall, but that's fine. It's fine for a character to be weak at certain things. In a lot of ways, season 1 Steve to me is my favorite version of the character because you didn't have this absurd rage drive. I feel like there's a bit too much of an execution demand on him to get the optimal down forward 2 combo. And I think there's too much of a gap between the optimal down forward 2 and the second best option. But that's just my opinion on the matter.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in the game. I think those are the Spag, you play Zafina now. Like you can do a lot of like 59 damage combos, 60 damage combos. But if you want that sweet 65, 66, you got to learn the just frame. It's not super hard, but it's not something but it's something that only people who care about the character are going to learn. And that's perfect. Like she's my favorite design in the game, more or less, because I think they've done that perfectly. Average to slightly above average if you make an slightly below average if you don't.
Yeah.
I like that.
She's very, very cool. That's what I said. Again, there's a lot of diversity in this right now, what we're seeing. So I like that. But what I think, like strongly, which was touched upon earlier, is if you're gonna do buffs, nerfs, whatever, don't do it based on the popularity of a character, man. And I feel like it's done. From what I've heard, I don't know where I heard it. I heard that, for example, Asuka, she was a very popular character in Japan, and then it made sense to me. Like even fucking Fergus was laughing. He laughed when he saw the season 2 changes. He goes, I don't know why they keep buffing her. Why did they give her this 4-4-3? High crushing, mid, homing, safe, and counter hit launcher. Why does she have that? Why is the side step 2 safe? Why does Black 3? Why is it so hard to punish for so many characters? He was asking as an Asuka main, but it makes sense when you think, okay, she's popular in Japan, therefore they're probably protecting her. Alisa, another one as well. For some reason, just not she's getting buffed all the time.
Correct.
I think I like
I also think there's something to be said about patching the game to make it more entertaining at all levels of play. Because Asuka has traditionally never been a very strong tournament character because her ability to punish minor whiffs isn't particularly good. Her jab strings are kind of weak, and top players don't make big mistakes. So that's where a character like Kazumi can really shine, because she's very good at creating minor whiffs with her movement and punishing it with 1-1-2. And Asuka is the complete opposite of that. Her jab strings suck, and that's really, really big at
And she's a monster online.
Yeah, she's a monster online.
And Heihachi is another character you don't see much in tournament. He's a fucking monster. His fucking hunting hawks, the fucking 4-4-2s, Unga maximum bungas. Asuka, you basically chill and do like a couple of back threes, and you can get really far, really far. Like bleeding edge of tournament play, no. But you're right. I think people should consider online more, because, like I've said many times on this podcast, it's the main game mode, because it's where 99.9% of all Tekken matches happen.
Yeah, I and not just online, but balancing for players of all skill levels. And I'm not saying that balancing to make the game more entertaining for players of all skill levels. And I don't mean they should dumb the game down so that, new players can win. What I mean is that a good player is always going to punish Asuka back three, but doing so is really obnoxious for an intermediate level player, and unnecessarily so. I feel like a move like that should be pretty easy to punish. And it's only really a factor at an intermediate level of play.
Yeah. And you have to be a fucking wizard if you're going to consistently chicken and stuff online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's when it gets pretty hard, though. It gets really tough to do that. But yeah, I agree with you. If they could do that, if they could focus a little bit more on the intermediate side of things, that would be great. I think they did that a little bit with Katarina, by nerfing her. I think because she was clearly a character that didn't really cause issue for the top players, but she caused issues for the intermediate and the low players. The low players.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me that they also nerfed her down forward one and other stuff.
Also nerfed her down forward one. Tried to buff the stance, but didn't actually buff the stance in a way that mattered. All these things. You're so right.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you made Harrier safe, but you didn't give her a low to mix the four with. So yeah, it's a very good point. Like, people were upset online about Katarina, so we fuck her in the ass. But they didn't throw a bone to the people who actually like the character. It's almost like Namco, like, we made Eliza, we made Katarina, we made Gigas, check him out, and then everybody's like, we don't like him. Then they go, well, like, fuck you then.
Yeah.
And they just go like, we agree. They're just joining in, fucking stepping on them in the yard. Yeah, fuck you guys, fuck yeah.
Geese does, I think we talked about this last time, but Gigas is a character I feel like they've trying to kind of push to the wayside, and they just don't want to risk making that character good, because not enough people play him really. People won't complain that much. People will complain a lot if Gigas is, because he's very easy to play.
But if it becomes good enough that a Gigas player wins a major tournament, the guy who does that brings Gigas to a tournament and wins, he's going to get blow jobs for years. He's going to be people are going to tattoo his name on their arms and dicks and stuff. It's okay, for example, Evo Japan, there was the Julia player who made it all the way to grand finals against all these Leroys. As far as I'm concerned, he's the winner because everybody loves that guy. He's super dope. He's the reason, the grand finals were still worth watching. He made it really, really far. He made it interesting against that Leroy. And then he lost to the most Unga Bunga move in the game, the 1-1 string, the jab string.
Yeah.
But people are talking about how this final, Aris was saying on his stream, this was interesting because we had this villain in the shape of Leroy. I think they're wrong. I think it was interesting because it's the first time we've seen a Julia player make it that far. And he was using the outfit, the American Indian outfit from the old Tekken games. And it was this super cool Tekken character that we don't see represented. But if that hadn't been Julia versus Leroy, if it had been Julia versus Nina or Anna or another character you don't see, would have been even cooler and even doper. So yeah, I mean, fuck, it would be so cool if they just gave some of these characters enough space that they could at least show up at the bleeding edge of the competitive scene. I mean, how many Miguels have you seen in top 8?
Yeah, Miguel is a character that I could see if you gave him some buffs. I would like to see Miguel in tournament as a stronger character. I'd like to see Lars get buffed as well. I want to see more of him. We just never see him, so it'd be so cool because he's got great combos. He's entertaining to watch. But I get what you're saying, Arya, about Gigas. I think they don't want to risk making him good because he is such an easy character. He has that crazy fucking long ass jab. His down two is
his
so
while
good.
standing one is high crushes.
Punisher.
Yeah, he's easy. Like it's like Dino was saying last time. He's not good, but he's cheap. Yeah, and there's a difference there.
Yeah.
And if you make a character like that good, then people will complain, and for good reason. So I think they're being very cautious with Gigas, and I guess it's a bit uninspired, but he's clearly not a popular character, so they don't want to spend too much. They don't really want to rack their brains when it comes to reinventing the wheel with Gigas.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like Eddie Spag? Because that's a character where Arya said the same thing. They intentionally keep him a little bit weak because if a character like Eddie was seriously strong, then people would be so upset.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think that is the reason why they've kept him not so weak, because you look at how strong he was in Tag 2. I mean, they just, people don't want any part of that anymore. And me as an Eddie player, I think Inhies, who is an Italian Eddie player, he said it correct. He just feels like Eddie got bullied into nerfs, but no one's gonna feel sorry for them. No one's gonna feel sorry for an Eddie player. And empathize. Eddie was cheap in Tag 2, and I feel like he was definitely gonna get nerfed, and he did. But I just feel like he doesn't. I think he's good. But he struggles, man. I think he does struggle. I think not having a tracking downfall, there's still some things they could do to him to not make him like obnoxious against intermediate players, but better at high level, because that's the thing. You distinguish between the two, intermediate, high level. Don't make him obnoxious versus the intermediates, but make him a bit better at high level, man. Give him a downfall 2, that tracks. It doesn't track at all. It used to, that was his main tool. Downfall 2 for Eddie was his main tool. It used to be 14 frame, but it tracked, and that it was a move that I used to beat people who I knew were going to step. And sometimes I still use it even when I know that it's not going to work. It's got the tracking of a jab. It's really bad now, and it's one thing that John Ding's been asking for the past few years, and they're just not willing to do it. I think if they buff him to make him a bit better at high level, while not making his strings better, so that he's going to body all the noobs and the intermediates, I think that would be a great change for him. But I'm not gonna ask for it. I understand why Eddie is not.
Do you feel like he's also very matchup dependent?
I personally do. I mean, you look at someone like Spirogen, he doesn't give a shit. He'll play Eddie against everyone. But I feel like if I ever play against an Anna player, if I ever play against even Asuka, or Noctis, for example. Noctis is Eddie's worst matchup. I'd say I personally would not play Eddie in those, but someone like Spiro would just go and play. And John Ding would do it as well. He doesn't give a shit. And you can win because Eddie is very high risk, high reward. In the first 2, any character can win.
He has the exact same problem as Asuka, in that he's quite obnoxious at intermediate, but doesn't. At high level play, he's lacking some certain fundamental tools. I think with Asuka, there's one simple change you could do to make the character both weaker at an intermediate level of play and much stronger at a high level of play, and that's remove sidestep 2, because that move actually prevents you from doing sidestep 2-3 to punish to sidestep punish, because sidestep 2 comes out. But sidestep 2 is also a really, really, like, the fact that it's also not punishable is really, really kind of abusable, especially at an intermediate level of play. So if that move was literally just removed, she'd become both more viable as a competitive character and less obnoxious for people learning the game.
Or they can make 1-3 natural combo.
Yeah.
That then gives her a 10 frame, and it gives her something that she can do from sidestep. But yeah, I feel like the reason why Asuka isn't the best at high levels because of her tracking. Personally, I feel like sidestep right beats Asuka, beats a lot of her main moves. And you see JDCR, he's perfect, man. You watch JDCR in the Asuka matchup, that guy sidestep right duck, and he'll beat the forward 4 homing move because it's a high. He'll beat the down forward 1, and he'll beat the down back 3. Beats so many options. You just do sidestep right duck. So tracking is definitely an issue. But you're right as well. Not being able to get damage on the quick recovery whiff is definitely something she struggles with.
Yeah, she struggles at compact Tekken. People in the chat are saying I want to buff Steve's down forward too, but remove Asuka's sidestep too. I don't think they should buff Steve's down forward too. In fact, I would prefer if it resulted in a stun where you got like a free while standing 1-2. But what I'm saying is I don't think that this is going back to the point about execution, is that I think good execution should be rewarded. But I think the second best option shouldn't be that far off. Because with Steve at the moment, you're getting like 40 damage if you go for the easy mode. But if you go for the ultra hard new Season 3 combo, it's more damage plus the wall carry. And the wall carry is really important there.
I mean, I'm okay with it, man. You look at Season 2, you look at Steve's down 4-2 and how bloody
it was stupid. It was stupid. It was stupid.
Yeah,
and I agree.
I'm okay with him just getting a forward 4-2 after down 4-2 on counter hit. Yeah. I mean, that move is safe. You can go into stance. It's a homing move. It's mid. That move giving you 40 damage on counter hit is more than good enough, especially because some people will try to sidestep Steve to the left because it beats his back 1 and down forward 1. So down forward 2, just giving you a forward 2 is good. And if you have that insane execution to get the combo, then fair play to you, man. So I think it's an all right position at the moment.
For me, it's more the topic of how much should execution reward you. And I think that basically the best option with Steve and the second option, there's too much of a gap in there, because now if you want to play Steve at a high level, it basically demands that you grind a shit ton to get this down forward 2 down, which I'm not a huge fan of personally. I would prefer that they kind of normalized it and made so you can get a bit more damage if you pull off the extra hard combo, but it's not totally like a game changer. Like you don't get the wall carry or whatever. I wouldn't mind a straight up nerf to down forward 2 if it helped normalize, but it's more on the how much should execution be rewarded factor.
Yeah, but I think that the getting the forward 4-2 on it anyway as an easy option is still really good. I think it's really good for Steve, and as a Steve player, they'd be quite happy to take that. But there are players. It's great. Crazy. There's a player in Pakistan. His name is Noman Chaudhry, and he got top 8 in Takra Cup. He doesn't drop that combo, man. It's insane. The guy always hits that combo, man. So it's doable. I mean, I know you said it's something you got to grind, and is it fair to have to grind it? But it's. I think the down 4-2 combo, as a move down 4-2 to get a combo from that is stupid in my opinion.
Yeah.
So in order to get that stupid, in order to get a combo, you should also be able to have to do something stupid, which is to grind that. Yeah.
I don't think two stupids make a right though.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
Season 3, man.
Yeah. I can see it either way, but again, I would prefer if you just got like a while standing 1-2, like a stun that just gave him a free while standing 1-2, and it wasn't like a crazy executional thing. Yeah. Anyway, guys, we've been at this for like 2 hours now. Are there any more topics you wanna give a stab at, or should we wind things?
Would you ban Kokoma if he was doing Lucky Chloe cosplay at the time?
No, I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't. Okay, but I know that there's a lot of people in FGC that would fuck him because Fergus did a very, very, very bad Lucky Chloe cosplay on his stream, and there were people in his chat who were like, "Fuck, I would fuck him," and I was like, "What the fuck? Seriously?" So Kokoma, 100%, there'll be plenty of people that will be like, "Fuck it," I'll fuck him. So, but I personally would have, not my cup of tea, but you know.
Just wanted to know where you guys stand on that, before we wrap this up.
What about you, mate?
I mean, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you guys know about? Should I say it? Nah, I probably shouldn't.
Go ahead.
Well, now you have to say it.
Should I say it? Should I say it? This is that inside knowledge, boy. That inside tournament, Should I say it? Fuck it, I'm gonna say it, man. Super Kuma told me, that so he was in Japan and he was going. They go to these baths, right, in Japan where you just walk around and he goes that he saw Kokoma. He goes he's doing well for himself downstairs.
Yeah,
that is yeah.
Insider knowledge.
Inside knowledge, inside knowledge, boy. Now I don't know what Super Kuma would define as doing well, so I'm a bit skeptical. But that's what the man said. Don't take it. Go ask him.
Doing well as in he means that it was easy to pick up women in Japan because he's a foreigner. Is that the point?
Nah, not really. But you can watch it back and maybe you'll understand.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this about Japanese women. It's Valentine's Day. Love in the hair, yeah?
Love is what?
Love is in the hair. They don't shave, dude. Anywhere.
They don't shave? Anywhere?
Anywhere. They don't have any hair except for certain places, but they have a lot where they do. And so like sometimes you'll be doing your thing and you'll go home and you'll have like a bit of floss stuck between your teeth and you can actually fucking floss with it before you get it out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, dude.
I love you,
so that is like if you're into that, coming over here and stuff, but yeah.
Frame, speaking
guys,
from recent experience.
If you want to floss your teeth with the Japanese girls' pubes, come over to Japan, man. Get yourselves over, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should work for the Japanese tourist board, dude.
I think you're going to get a lot of people in the chat coming to Japan soon. I think you're going to be responsible for the increase of tourism. Fuck the Olympics. People are going to come they're going to come to floss.
Fuck the Olympics, dude. This is like the most crowded place on the face of the earth. It's way too many people. You can't get on a train. It's fucking nightmare. And they're going to have like the most crowded event like that happens on the face of the earth in Tokyo. Like you can't walk in Tokyo right now for all the human flesh that is just everywhere. So like when that starts happening this year, I'm like me and Arya, we're down here on the South Island. We're just gonna like fucking build a wall to keep the Olympics out.
Tokyo is pretty insane, but it's actually not as bad as Beijing. Beijing is just people everywhere you look, you're just running into someone.
Yeah. Like rush hour is fucking it's a nightmare, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, Tokyo.
We thought that's how it was going to be with London. We thought London was going to be crazy because of the Olympics in 2012, but it was more crowded, but it wasn't too bad. I mean, London's quite populated as well, but I guess nowhere near as Tokyo.
I really miss the UK lately. I'm like thinking maybe I should move back. It was pretty cool. I really like. Arya, do you miss the UK at all?
Come, man.
I do. I was actually
to London, son.
I've been
dope, dude.
I've been thinking if I came back to the UK, I was actually thinking about moving back and getting like a little place in Brighton, actually, like
in Brighton,
next to the sea. Because
I thought you were going to say like the Cotswolds or something like that.
Something like that, somewhere like remote and just peaceful, and where the rent isn't ridiculous. I would go to London, but just London property price is just insane. So it's just
It's true.
And the food, man. I mean, the best part of living in the UK was the Indian food and the Pakistani food, man.
Absolutely. When people give British food a bad rep, I'm just like, have you been to England?
Well, it's like the actual indigenous British food. I mean, a Sunday roast with sauce, I'm super down. But like the international food in England was the best part.
Yeah,
it's a melting pot, man. The UK has got all sorts of stuff. You go to London, you'll get any food that you want, and like anytime these people come for versus fighting in Birmingham. Now Birmingham, like there's so many Pakistanis here, so many Indian Pakistanis. So Tishuman called it mini Pakistan. I took him to my area in Birmingham. He called it mini Pakistan. And we always go every year versus fighting. We go to a Pakistani restaurant, really fucking good one. JDCR went there and these other guys, and they're like, we want to come back here. So they came back the next day to the same restaurant. So, I mean, the food you get in the UK, man, it's really good, man.
If you know where to go, if you know people, like the dim sum, it was like ridiculous. The Chinese food you get in Brighton as well was crazy. Wow. Turkish kebabs, like right next to my place, that were like, world class.
For sure. Like London, you can find the best cuisine from all over the world, but the problem is it always comes with a price tag. A heftier price tag. I mean, you can get great Japanese food, great Indian food, great, whatever food, Caribbean food in London, but it's always pricey.
Yeah,
always pricey.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You pay for quality, though, man. It's got good quality.
You do, except for the rent, where you pay like your entire salary for a shitty basement flat. But
that's true.
But I really enjoyed this, guys. I really enjoyed talking to you. This was fun. It was like, I don't know. I thought it was going to be like more Valentine's. I just want to say it before we wrap it up. I mean, a lot of people are watching like Twitch right now on Valentine's. They obviously don't have a date. And so that's why I wanted to do this, because I reckon a lot of people out there might be having like a little bit of a bum day playing video games and watching streams and stuff. And I just want to let you know that loads of love to everybody, and thank you for always showing up for this podcast. It's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
People.
It's been such a blast chatting with you, Spag. I hope you can join us again sometime.
Thanks for having me on, man. Of course. I'd love to be back on, man.
And dude, if you get to Korea, like come over. Me and Arya basically live in the same area. We have a good offline scene.
Yeah. Like for both of us,
man.
Yeah. For both of us, Seoul is closer to us than Tokyo. It's literally like an hour's flight.
We can basically swim.
I know. I know, because I went to Seoul and it was like maybe 30 quid to go to Fukuoka from Seoul. It's so close. So that's my plan. My plan is just to go to Seoul and chill there for a bit, go Busan, maybe see CBM, and then just head down to Fukuoka from there, man. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna hit you guys up, man. It'll be my first time in Japan.
Fukuoka's a nice place. Fukuoka's a nice place, and on the topic of pube floss, like there's this phrase called Hakata Bijin, which means like the other name for Fukuoka is Hakata. I'm not sure about the history about that, but basically the most beautiful women in Japan.
There used to be two cities on opposite sides of the river, Fukuoka and Hakata. Fukuoka is where the castle and like the nobility lived, and Hakata was workers' quarters. But now it's merged into one city. I actually live on the Hakata side, so
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's like Hakata Bijin is like we have the most beautiful women in all of Japan live in this city.
It's true.
It's absolutely true. Yeah.
When you go there, it's just ridiculous. You walk down the street and it's just stunner after stunner. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just pube floss everywhere, bro.
If that's what you're into.
So
hey, man,
I think
try it.
This is going to be the when I put this on YouTube, this is going to be the title, like Wavedash 06.
It might be the first ever Wavedash.
Yeah, and then when I tick all the buttons, like is this content appropriate for children?
Dude, this is hilarious. My girlfriend is messaging me right now. Oh,
is she pissed?
Hey, Maruka, I miss you, babe. I'm gonna call you when this is over. Can't believe you're still awake. 3 a.m.
Maruka, is that her name?
I shouldn't have said it. That's awkward. But yeah, she'll be very happy.
There are tons of Marukas. That's
common name.
It's all good. All right, guys. Awesome, thanks so much for tuning in, chat. It's been an absolute pleasure. Spag, been great having you here.
Good luck in the tournament, dude.
Frame, always a pleasure. Yes. And yeah, have a great time. Have a great time.
All right, peace.